What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kid Smooth, and I'm back with another video. Thank you guys for checking out my impressions or my review of Drake's album. I know some of you guys dislike it, some of you guys liked it, and some people just disliked that I talked about it. But this video I want to do is because I've been actually been wanting to do this for a long time, but good thing I got reminded to do it because I was having a conversation with some of my friends, and when we're not talking about video games, we're talking about sports or music, and we were talking about best rappers, who's the greatest rappers, the top 10. Because I was watching a Charlemagne video, and I'm like, man, why do? And the thing I can't say, and I was telling everybody, because why does hip hop? Why do people give Jay-Z so much credit? And I say that because look up any type of Google top 10 rappers of all time, or top 10 hip hop artists of all time, or greatest rappers, or top 5. Type in best rappers, right? Jay-Z will appear on that list, and then in a lot of these lists, you'll see Jay-Z at #1, and it baffles me. It like hurts my soul. It hurts my heart because as a fan of rap music and hip hop, I just and just being around and being able to grow up through the most glorious era, which is the 90s. I sit down and I've tried to think, and I've been sitting down and I've been dwelling on it. So I'm like, hey, I can't think of one era, 1, 2, 3 year period where Jay-Z was the #1 rapper. I can't think of any time frame where Jay-Z was the man, the best rapper, like that year. Like, for example, if you ask who's the best rapper now or something, or the best artist now, somebody's going to say Drake. You'll have a few people that say Kendrick, and you'll have some people that say J. Cole, you know what I mean? But pretty much the consensus is Drake, right? I'm trying to figure out, when was Jay-Z that man? You know what I mean? So, because when you go back, let's go back when Jay-Z first came out. You know what I mean? He came out in maybe 95, 96. His album Reasonable Doubt came out in 96. A lot of you guys may say, oh, that was a classic. You probably didn't hear it and call it a classic. You probably heard somebody on TV or heard him, or read something in a magazine, or read top 10 greatest rap albums of all time, and they probably had Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt album. But when Reasonable Doubt came out in 1996, it wasn't a classic, and it wasn't a classic because nobody bought it or listened to it enough for it to become a classic. People were too busy with other classic albums like The Score by the Fugees, or All Eyes on Me by Tupac, or It Was Written by Nas, or freaking, but was it who else had a freaking good album, or quote unquote classic album? Well, Tupac had 2 classic albums that year, so Jay-Z didn't have much room. Busta Rhymes is coming, you know what I mean? He had a good album. Now these were albums that were bought, that was more receptive that year. Mobb Deep had what you call a good album. I know Snoop Dogg dropped an album, was The Dogfather. It wasn't Doggy Style, it was The Dogfather, and that album was trash. But Jay-Z, obviously, he wasn't a man, and Reasonable Doubt was out there. What's that song he had with Mary J. Blige? I think Can't Knock the Hustle. They were out there, but they weren't what people were checking for. You know what I mean? And if you even go to the next year, 97, who was the best rappers in 97? You know what I mean? 97 was a tough year for hip hop because 97 we took losses. Tupac had just died, Biggie had just died. So it was a lot of Bad Boy this, it was a lot of Tupac material out there, there's a lot of Biggie material out there. Mace had just came out and he was the best new thing. After a little bit, Wu-Tang kept popping here and there. Bone Thugs and Harmony stayed around. Jay-Z music was alright. I think he had In My Lifetime that came out that year, but it was good, but nobody was ready to call Jay-Z the best rapper in 1997 because he wasn't. He wasn't. In 1998, Jay-Z had an opportunity. He pushes himself out there, but Jay-Z had a whole lot of competition in 1998. He had, we know Lauryn Hill dropped that classic, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill classic. I mean, I don't want to, not to say that Lauryn Hill was a better rapper. I'm just saying she was just a more of a, people were checking for her then. Master P. I'm see, people will look at me and listen to this now, but if this was 1990 freaking 8, you wouldn't be saying this because we know Master P and the No Limit Soldiers ran shit as far as hip hop goes. DMX was the best rapper in 1998. He dropped 2 #1 albums in 98. He had The Hell Is Hot, which was his best work, and then he had Blood of My Blood, Flesh of My Flesh, that creepy album. He dropped Big Pun was there. You know what I mean? There was Jay-Z was there. Yeah, he was one of the rappers, but he wasn't the man. If he was probably all right, if you name like 4 best rappers, then yeah, maybe Jay-Z was one of the people you mentioned. You know what I mean? He was not the greatest rapper then. And he damn sure wasn't the greatest rapper in 1999 because Nas came back with I Am, which was a classic, and he was making noise pretty much for the whole year. Because he ended up dropping 2 albums that year too. Eminem made some noise, and we all know what Eminem came out to be. That's when he came out with Hi, My Name Is. Jay-Z dropped his Life and Times of S. Carter, but like I said, that wasn't a classic album. It was another good album that came out that year. But come on, really, in 1999, would you really willing to call Jay-Z the best rapper? No, not me neither. Year 2000, you know what I mean? Jay-Z makes some noise, but guess what? Outkast drops Stankonia. Eminem drops the classic album of 2000, the classic, the Marshall Mathers LP. This is when Eminem becomes the best rapper of that generation. He becomes the best rapper of that time, and his time lasted quite a while. You know what I mean? But you had Outkast, Eminem. Jay-Z's there. Yes, Jay-Z is there. It shows his consistency, but he wasn't the #1 guy. And you know who else dropped? Mystical had work in 2000. Not saying Mystical was better than Jay-Z, but I'm just saying these people were putting out stuff that made it challenging for me to be like, all right, Jay-Z's the best rapper. You know who else came out? Freaking in 2000, Ja Rule. And then Ja Rule, like other rappers, took off in 2001, which he started to take some of that. The world got to know Ja Rule in 2001, but the world also got to know this battle between Nas and the guy we're talking about, Jay-Z. We heard Ether, we heard Takeover. I enjoy Ether better. Some people enjoy Takeover better. I thought Stillmatic was more of a classic album than the Blueprint was. We got the Jay-Z. This is when Jay-Z really should start credit for becoming one of the best rappers. Blueprint was a great album. He was in a highly heightened beef with Nas. That was the biggest beef since like Tupac and Biggie. And he had a classic album to back him up that year. But also Nas had a classic album to back him up that year. And Ja Rule was just taking off. So maybe the best rappers in 2001 were Nas, Ja Rule, Eminem, and Jay-Z. I'm not saying that in any particular order, but those were like. But so Jay-Z's name was there. 2002 is really kind of where, because Eminem just dropped the Eminem Show. That album was all right, and Jay-Z drops the Blueprint 2. Wasn't no better than the Blueprint 1, but Jay-Z's name is sticking. You know, after that, 2001 was one hell of a year for him. One hell of a year for him. So, all right, Jay-Z, you are somewhat the man, but he's only the man. No, he's not the man. He's sharing the spotlight in 2002. I keep forgetting how 2002 was, but Jay-Z is sharing the spotlight with rappers such as, again, Eminem, Nelly, and Ja Rule in 2002, and then you got Jay-Z. So he wasn't the front runner. 2003, Jay-Z was not the front runner. He wasn't the front runner until the end of the year. 50 Cent took over 2003 with Get Rich or Die Trying, and that carried over into 2004 with the G-Unit album, into 2005 with the Massacre. For a brief moment, obviously, Jay-Z retires, obviously, with the Black Album. Everybody gives him credit. He do this big concert. The younger rappers are starting to credit Jay-Z as the best rapper, and even rappers that's been around before him start to credit him. So they give him all this credit. Cool, bye-bye, so long. So during that time between 2004 to 2006, 50 Cent ran everything. Kanye West comes in and starts to take over, and Lil Wayne comes in. Lil Wayne and Kanye West pretty much runs hip hop. Jay-Z comes back, and Jay-Z's obviously getting so much credit nowadays. So no matter what he dropped, when I think Kingdom Come, he comes back, it was whack. Still credited as the one of the best rappers. 2007 he drops American Gangsta. Nah, but it's Jay-Z. He's the man because he's been the longest tenured rapper that's still going. So, and I think even during that time when Jay-Z came back with American Gangster, Kingdom Come, he wasn't the front runner. Lil Wayne and then his predecessor Kanye West were the front runners of hip hop. I think T.I. was even top. It was in the top during that time. Jay-Z becomes front runner in 2008. That's when he becomes front runner. 2008 with the Blueprint 3. Was that even 2008? Or is that 2009? When did the Blueprint 3 came? It came out I think summer 2008. Yes, all right, summer 2008. That's when Jay-Z becomes the front runner. He gets his #1 hit with Rihanna and Kanye West with Run This Town. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It didn't come out in 2008. I forgot Lil Wayne ran shit in 2008. It came out in 2009. It came out in 2009, Blueprint 3. That's when Jay-Z kind of pretty much was the man, and he had an album to back it up, and there was not much other rappers at the time that were actually doing much. And so Jay-Z kind of just lived off that until Drake came. And now, I mean, it's easy to call Jay-Z the best rapper now when you have people to compare him to like Drake, Meek Mill, Young Thug, Future. Of course, Jay-Z becomes the best. But during the time, what we're crediting him for, we crediting him he should have only been being credited when he actually came through, is only with the Blueprint 3 is during that time frame where he's actually, all right, Jay-Z, you're actually the man. But during the important times of hip hop, like when music was actually overall good, when a rapper could come out, drop an album, that album will be good, and you never hear from him again. Jay-Z wasn't the man during that time, and that's where I think he's overrated. Now, a lot of you guys may look at me and think I'm crazy for saying this because I don't rock to Jay-Z like that. I don't think he's the best rapper. I think he's a good businessman. I think he made better business decisions than his peers. I feel like he's the most successful of all the rappers that during his time and after his time and before his time, he's the most successful. But being the most successful doesn't make you the greatest. As an artist, no, I can't. If this was top 10 best business rappers, yeah, Jay-Z's #1. But I'm talking about as an artist, as a musician, as a work of art. Jay-Z is not top 3. He's not top 5. He's somewhere. He could be in your top 10, but he's not in. He's somewhere in my top 10. But there's too many rappers I would put ahead of Jay-Z, and I just feel like hip hop, everybody gave Jay-Z way too much credit, and I feel like there was rappers that were out during his time that did more than he did and had a better run than he did. Jay-Z just had a longer run, but his run wasn't with him being #1. So I got for you guys. Good night.